mind your heads, because we will be going under a lot of very low bridges on this tour, and we really don't wish for any of you to walk away from the tour with a bad headache. Now, we start the tour here in Newhaven, which means the new harbor, but it's not at all as new as the name suggests. The canal here was dug out by hand and shovel 350 years ago by soldiers and unemployed people. They did that because the king wanted a passage from the harbor and up to the center of the city, so that merchant ships could come into the center of the town to unload their stock. Now, in the old days, Newhaven here used to be a bit of a shady place. The sailors would come in here to spend their hard-earned money, so the area was full of murky pubs, ladies of the night, pickpockets. You would always find a good fight here any night of the week. Mind your heads, please. This first bridge is quite low. Thank you. So, as I said, Newhaven here was a bit of a shady place in the old days. If you have ever wondered why the houses in Newhaven have different colors, it was kind of a service to the drunken sailors when they were trying to make their way home at the very early hours of the morning, and their navigation systems were not so intact anymore. It was easier to find the right house when they all had different colors. Nowadays, Newhaven is a lot more peaceful than it was in the old days. Both local people of Copenhagen and visitors to the city like to come here to enjoy a nice traditional Danish meal, some seafood, a cold beer, or a nice ice cream, or just a nice ambience in Newhaven. And I could see that some of you have already picked up on the tradition on these boats, that we wave to the people that we pass along the way. There's a saying in Denmark that a stranger is a friend that you just haven't met yet. So we take that to heart on these boats and try to greet all our new friends that we pass along the way. They usually wave back. The only people who never wave back are the staff at the Royal Yacht. They seem to feel that they're a little bit better than the rest of us. So they never wave back. But they're not in the harbor today, so we won't be passing them. Here on your left-hand side, you have the Playhouse that was built in 2008. It's a part of the Royal Theatre, and it was designed by architects Lundgaard and Tranberg. When they opened the Playhouse here, they opened with a production of Shakespeare's Hamlet. As you might know, Hamlet was a Danish prince. He resided in the castle Kronborg, 45 kilometers north of Copenhagen. Perhaps you even recall the famous quote from Hamlet, "To be or not to be," or, as they say down in Newhaven, "2 beers or not 2 beers." Now, the building here is a sustainable one, like most new buildings in Copenhagen. We have an ambition of becoming the first CO2 neutral capital of the world, so we work hard to achieve that goal. And the building here does that by using the water of the harbor to cool it off with on hot summer days. During the winter, when it needs heating, they have developed a very special advanced technique for this building, where they collect the body heat of the audience and include that in heating up the building the next day. Now, when they made the Playhouse, they wanted to give the actors some nice changing rooms. So the rooms that you see up on the first floor, those are the changing rooms of the actors. They have a very nice view of the harbor here. What they didn't remember thinking about was that big windows are transparent from both sides. So these days, when we sail by in the evening, we mostly see drawn curtains up there. The square here, right after the Playhouse, is called Ophelia Square and is, of course, named after Hamlet's beloved. The building over here on your right-hand side that looks a little bit like a spaceship, that's actually the Opera House of Copenhagen. It was built in 2005 and given as a gift for Copenhagen from the Maersk Foundation. Maersk, the big shipping company, they're the ones with the serious money in Denmark, so they could afford to throw Copenhagen a new opera house for 2.3 billion krona. It's designed by an architect called Henning Larsen and is an impressive building of 14 stories, 5 of them below ground. And it consists of this outer shell made of glass and steel, and behind it you can see the inner shell. That one is made of maple wood, lacquered like string instruments, and shaped like an anatomically correct heart, to symbolize the love for music, of course. Now also notice the 3 globe-shaped chandeliers in the foyer of the opera. They are designed, made by Danish-Icelandic artist Olafur Eliasson. Each of those cost 1 million krona. They made a mistake with the chandeliers and forgot that they were too big to fit through the doors of the opera. So they had to make an entire new set of them that they had to assemble inside the building. So that was quite an expensive mistake. The opera house has a few funny features. If you clap on the stones on the sides of the building, you can actually play melodies on the buildings, because the different stones are fitted with different tunes. The funny shaped building in the background here with smoke coming out of the chimney is called Copenhill. It was built 5 years ago by a quite successful Danish architect firm called the BIG Group. They are doing creative designs all over the world, and they are famous for using both the inside use in Denmark, so we import garbage to be burned here at Copenhill. The energy is used to heat up most of the houses and apartments in Copenhagen. Now on the outside, this building has a climbing wall on one side going all the way up to the top. I think it's 85 meters. And on the other side it has a ski slope. The Danes have been jealous of our brother people in Norway and Sweden for centuries, because in Norway and Sweden they have really nice mountains and snow and good skiing, and in flat little Denmark we don't have much of that. But now Bjarke Ingels, the architect here, tried to compensate us for that by giving us our own little ski slope where we can ski in Copenhagen all year round. To the Danish Navy for centuries. Nowadays, most of the active Navy ships are in other parts of the country, and the ships you see here today are museum ships. For example, you see the black submarine there on the shore. It's called the Seal, and it was active during the Iraq War in 2003. Now it's a museum, so if you wish to see what a submarine looks like on the inside, you can visit the Seal. Also notice the grey frigate with the number F352 on it. It's called Peder Skram, and it was active during the Cold War. But in Denmark,